Welcome, everyone, to People on Dating. I'm your host, Will Morales. And for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, this podcast is about the ups and downs of dating and how to navigate through it. Today, my guest is Keable. Did I get your last name right?
You got it, Will.
Sounds good. And he's the Chief Strategy Officer of Ashley Madison. Paul, so thank you so much for being on People on Dating. I really appreciate it. It's funny because I've been trying to get on from eHarmony, Match.com, Tinder, and I just get crickets. And you're the first one with a dating site, let's call it that. You're available. So I appreciate it. How are you, Paul?
I'm fantastic, and I do appreciate the opportunity to chat with you. We are a dating app. We just happen to cater to a very unique audience compared to some of the other brands that you mentioned there.
Yeah, definitely. So, Paul, tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you become Chief Strategy Officer for Ashley Madison? What was that journey like for you?
So I've been with the company for 10 years now, a little over, and it's obviously been a bit of a ride if you know our past, given the events of 2015. And ultimately,
Yeah.
my role there has evolved to sort of not so much go out and promote the brand, but help explain to people what's happening behind the scenes in the world of infidelity, in the world of monogamy, because what we think is happening, what we think are the reasons for why women cheat and why men cheat are actually quite different than the truth. And it's an odd thing. We're the world's largest married dating app, but at the same time, we're kind of also the world's largest marriage counseling service, because if you don't want your partner on Ashley Madison or to cheat, period, listen to me as to why our members are joining up and what they're actually looking for versus what you think they're looking for.
No, that sounds good. And it's funny because I did read about the 2015 breach and all that, and now I saw somewhere that now people can pay to get their profile deleted. Am I correct in that, or is that something in the works for Ashley Madison? Again, it depends who you read.
Yeah, no, fair point. No, that is an old product. So if you sign up for Ashley Madison today, and when you're done using the service for your purposes, and you find hopefully exactly what you're looking for, you just hit the delete button, and all aspects of your profile will be deleted in accordance with our terms and conditions. But that former product that we used to offer as a paid element is no longer part of the service. You can delete your account for free.
No, sounds good. So anyway, Paul, so for those of in my audience that might not know what Ashley Madison is about, can you explain a little bit more?
Sure, absolutely. So we've been in business since 2002, and we launched then because our founder at the time was reading reports that as online dating was starting to take off, some of those traditional brands you just mentioned, they were being invaded in essence by married people pretending to be single. And that was his aha light bulb moment. They said, well, why don't I create a place where married people don't have to pretend to be single and find another person who's also looking for an affair? Because in our belief system, having an affair with someone who's also married reduces the risk of it being caught by taking it out of its traditional places where we tend to see affairs, the workplace. We lower the risk of impacting your job, which is certainly something that, particularly these days, is having a huge impact on a lot of different people's careers. And since then, we've signed up more than 90 million members around the world. And so it's an amazing business. We've been going strong for quite some time. And despite, the criticisms and the pushback and some of the other, events in our history, I don't think this business is going away anytime soon.
No, I don't think so either, especially now with how Instagram is and how women are flying out, or guys are flying women out to certain parts of the country. So when this was decided to go live, Ashley Madison, let's talk about some of the pushback, because now it seems like you might be promoting cheating, but we know that cheating is out there. We know that cheating is prevalent in today's society as it was 100 years ago. It's no different to me. Maybe it's just a little bit more out there where people are okay doing it. But tell us a little bit more about how this was formed and why. Was it because of the cheating that was going on and people were getting caught, like you said, maybe in the workplace, which is always a taboo in certain situations? So can you explain a little bit more, like the foundation, like even though
Sure,
you did, but a little
absolutely.
bit more? Yeah, if you could
Yeah,
expand on
absolutely.
it more.
So,
Yeah.
when our founder saw that report that said, up to 30% of profiles were married people pretending to be single. What
Mhm.
that told us was that there's this, obviously huge opportunity in the business space. The online dating was taking off, it was becoming super popular. And if you look at it today, 20 some odd years later, clearly the vast majority of people are meeting their partner or partners online through some form of app, dating or otherwise.
Yeah.
And so they were very, smart in terms of seeing the opportunity. And what we really believed in was this concept of mutually assured destruction. The idea that if I'm married and you're married, we're both likely to act in accordance so that neither one of us gets caught. What was happening was that on these traditional sites, a guy like myself, I'd go on, I'd be pretending to be single when in fact I was married. And that just creates a horrible opportunity for the traditional dating apps because the person that they're meeting with is not, expecting a married person to be lying about that situation, and really was sullying the waters for them. So we were thought, hey, we'll do a service to these traditional apps, take these married people off the sites and bring them to, where we believe where they belong. And at the same time, our belief is that in the workplace, which is actually our traditional competition, because that's where the vast majority of affairs over, recent modern history have occurred. We felt that this was really an inappropriate place to conduct an affair because you're risking your career. Because
Yeah.
often it's a situation where one person in the relationship is more junior to somebody else, and it creates a lot of different power dynamics that can result in one or both people losing the job. In fact, we've seen not too long ago, the CEOs Intel and McDonald's both lose their positions because of consensual affairs. We're not even talking about
Wow.
harassment here, affairs. And in the case of one of them, it was an affair that happened years prior to him taking the role. So it wasn't even a current affair. And so obviously, we saw where the future was going. We saw that companies didn't want this. And so, in a weird way, we're providing a service to a lot of different organizations, despite the criticism, despite the pushback on the nature of our business.
Yeah, it's funny because I was talking to a friend of mine and I said that I'm not a fan of cheating and all that. I've always been a one woman man. But in your study or in your, um, uh, uh, I guess, term with the company, what are some of the reasons that an affair does occur?
Yeah, it's
If
a
my
great
question,
question.
yeah,
It's a great question because we often have an idea in our heads portrayed through, Hollywood, through politics, through religion.
yeah,
The powerful guy with a high libido sleeping with the, pretty younger woman. And while that certainly is part and parcel of the business and the nature of infidelity, we actually partnered with a researcher out of the University of Missouri called Dr. Alicia Walker. She was really interested in studying the reasons behind the gender's approaches to infidelity, and it's a really hard subject to deal with in, general population surveys because in essence people lie to themselves, never mind to researchers. But if
yeah.
you've already signed up on Ashley Madison, you've kind of outed yourself that you're likely a cheater. So she does the research, and the findings were fascinating because it flips the script in terms of how people conceive of or think about infidelity. 80% of the women in this research were cheating because they were in a sexless or orgasmless marriage. So they would
Mm,
tell the researcher that they love their partner, they love their family. They didn't want to disrupt all that aspect of life because it was perfect in so many ways, but they were unwilling to compromise on a fulfilling and satisfying sex life. So they outsourced their intimate needs to Ashley Madison. And what was really interesting from my perspective was that men, majority of them were coming for emotional validation, not
uh,
necessarily purely physical. And that's the opposite, I think, of what most people
wow.
consider the motivation to be for why the different genders cheat.
Yeah, I never even thought about the for the men. So it's more a validation that they still got it going on for lack of a better phrase. Is that
That is a
what?
perfect encapsulation of it. We live in a world where men are told to be stoic, to bury their emotions, to be
Yeah.
the leader of the house, and that is certainly a trend that is on the rise again, particularly in America.
Mhm.
And it leaves men without an outlet to express their feelings and emotions. And we also live in a world where it's normal for men to tell their partner, their wife, she's beautiful, or her hair looks nice, that dress looks nice, or whatever it is, paying compliments. Men
Right.
rarely get those same compliments. We're not told, hey, that shirt looks nice on you, hey, you did your hair nice today. Men don't receive these type of compliments, and so when they come onto a site like Ashley Madison, while it often manifests in a physical interaction, it's that emotional element they're seeking the most that drives them there in the first place.
Yeah, no, I could definitely understand that because like as a woman gets their validation through whether it's a good picture, a nice dress, great haircut, whatever. guys, yeah, we rarely get any type of compliment, and I think I can understand why a man would want that. So, Paul, one of the things we're talking with Paul Keable, I called today's topic "discreet relationships." Um, where do the couples meet? They're both married. Well, first, the first question is it just for married people only? Can a single person that's dating someone join the site, or is it just married couples? I want to do that first.
Yeah, it's a great question. So, well, obviously, most of our marketing and our messaging is just towards married people who are looking for something outside of the traditional monogamous relationship. We do have single people who join the site for a variety of reasons. Sometimes people coming out of a relationship and they don't want to get back on the normal escalator of monogamy, but they want something discreet. We have a range of people, and interestingly enough, we've been tracking over the past few years about roughly 20% of our membership would indicate that they are what we call disclosed non-monogamists, meaning their partners are aware, if not participating, in their activities on Ashley Madison. So that's more along the lines of an open or polyamorous type relationship. But for the
Oh, okay.
most part, the major part of our business is married people seeking an affair. But sometimes even a married person, they don't want to have an affair with another married person. They're seeking out a single person for a variety of reasons.
Sure.
And we give them that platform, and people are able to identify accordingly on the site, so that people know who they're participating with in terms of their conversations.
Again, it's fascinating how, with women, and I remember I had a guest on, a therapist about a year ago, and she was saying that most of the women that do have affairs is because they're not getting the orgasm that they're hoping for. The guys are quick, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, and they're not taking care of a woman. Now, where do they meet? Like, is there a set place that Ashley Madison provides for them, or they? Uh, I know it's a
No,
crazy
so we
question.
don't get involved. Once it moves off the app, we don't get involved with that. You get to make those decisions yourself. But what we've
Okay,
done,
fair enough.
we've asked the members, where do they go? And more often than not, they're going to meet somewhere like a chain restaurant, maybe an Applebee's, because it is innocuous. They're ubiquitous across America. It doesn't seem out of the ordinary to see somebody there. Whereas, you go to a quieter, more romantic dinner spot, people who might run into you might seem suspicious. You're there without your partner. Maybe there was
Yeah,
somebody at a more traditional family-oriented restaurant. People don't bat a lash, and they don't even think twice about it necessarily. So that's
yeah.
often where you'll necessarily find them.
So how did you guys end up expanding out of the United States? Was it more of a demand that you saw from other countries or other people from other countries felt like this is something that I would like to join? How did you guys expand worldwide?
So our belief was, unlike traditional dating apps, which are really based on Western culture, which is amazing,
Yeah.
but dating changes and marriage changes quite a lot from culture to culture to culture around the world. So those brands, might have a bit more difficulty expanding as globally as we do, because
Okay.
infidelity is ubiquitous. It is the same in every religion, ethnicity, culture, economic status. It doesn't matter. The only place we probably really don't do all that well is France, simply because it's already embedded in the culture. They don't need an app for it. They're already doing it, and it's normal, and it's an expected thing, and people respect the privacy of others because they don't know what other people's businesses are, and they stay out of it.
Right. No, no, that I understand that. So where do you guys are looking to expand, like in the future? Like any more uh features that you might put on the site, or something that can entice more people to join, whether they're single or they're married? Are you guys always looking for brand new strategies?
I think right now, obviously catering to the married dating crowd is going to be a core focus and a foundational element for our business. But as we see the expansion of people participating in disclosed non-monogamy, meaning polyamory, meaning open relationships, we know that those people, particularly people who are attempting to open up the relationship later in life, are going to want the discretion that we offer, because that's what's at the core of Ashley Madison, is that ability to conduct these activities and meet people in a discrete environment. We believe that we'll be a big destination for this group of people, and we're building more products and features to address their specific needs. And so stay tuned for that.
I don't know if I asked this or if you brought this up. Have a married couple joined together to, a man and a wife join the site together, and so they could seek other relationships Um, does that make sense? Did I make?
Absolutely. Sometimes
Yeah.
we have people come on and they're unicorn hunting. They're looking for a third to join their marriage for a night or a little bit longer. We have all
Okay.
sorts of different activities. I've had people come on and looking for a traditional affair and end up falling in love and getting married to the partners and then realizing after the fact that it's in fact monogamy the problem, not marriage. And then they opened
Mm.
up their marriage and both came back to Ashley Madison. So we have the
Wow.
full gambit of stories in terms of the types of experiences people are looking for because ultimately what we provide them is a community of like-minded people, so no judgment, and
Right.
discretion. So you can explore as you're comfortable and release more information to the people you're talking to as you become more trusted with them and you trust them.
Is that what are the age ranges, if you don't mind me asking, from that joined the site? Are we talking people in the 20s up to the 50s and 60s, or is
We
that the
traditionally are a little bit older than a traditional dating site because obviously the Tinders and the Match.coms they're looking for people who are starting out on their relationship journey. So that's a lot of
yeah?
people heavily in their 20s, though obviously they cater to all age groups. We typically find our average age to be closer to 38ish for women and 40, 42 for men.
How old for women again? I'm sorry.
38,
And the
between
men
38
for
and
about
40,
and
about
the
40,
men are
42.
42. Oh, okay, okay. Oh, okay. So they're a little older. Gotcha. So let's talk about pushback. Now, have you gotten pushback from the masses that are against your site and try to shut you down?
We,
Because
we,
I saw the look in your eyes. So
we've
please
we've we've had
expand.
governments ban us. We've had royalty criticize us. We've had every possible sort of pundit proclaim that our business is unethical, immoral. Yeah, we've got every criticism. And if you think about it, infidelity is the only sin mentioned twice in the Ten Commandments. So we're up
Yeah,
against a long-standing history and tradition about infidelity, which is based more on a lack of understanding and insight than anything else. And
right.
we've weathered the storm, we've weathered the criticism, and despite all that pushback, here's the reality: we could shut down tomorrow, and not one affair would stop. They would just go
Yeah.
elsewhere, and they'd likely do it somewhere that is more risky with a greater impact both on the individual and their family and potentially their career.
Does the site uh do they have do you guys got rules for the men and women, in other words, how to keep their relationship discreet and not be out there that people might recognize them or anything like that? Go
Well, we
ahead.
give guidance. We give a lot of guidance to our
Yeah.
members in terms of how to limit their digital lipstick so that obviously they're not leaving their app and their emails open for their spouses to see when they're corresponding with their various affair partners. But for the most part, people come into this because they're a little bit older. They are knowledgeable. They're very aware of what we offer from a discretionary standpoint, and in doing so, they know that they need to continue that discretion when they take this into the real world.
And when you match someone, let's say a married woman to a married man, is there a criteria that you guys put them both through so they could end up matching, or is more of a physical type that they're looking for?
So you can, when you're looking at the profiles, all that information there, it looks like, when you log in, it looks like a very traditional dating app, except, most people don't have their face as their profile picture. And so
Ah,
we'll list age and your geography, because obviously location is critical. You're not going to be driving hundreds of miles for an affair, but you don't want someone who's within your neighborhood either. And
right.
so all those elements are, loaded into your profile. And the more information you provide in your profile, the better the chance you have of meeting someone, both in terms of pictures and description of the type of activities you're looking for.
So, have you ever had, and I think you mentioned it before, where you have an affair, but let's say a married woman and a married man, uh, they break up with their significant other, and then they get married. Has that happened?
Yeah, we've had that happen at least 3 times that I can recall off the top of my head. And I
Wow.
mean, one of them, it was happened very early on. I think they're married now for 15 or 18 years.
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, because
Yeah.
you figured that something, the chemistry might click where the chemistry from before, maybe it was a marriage of convenience or a
Well, there's
setup,
a
and
lot of reasons that people
yeah,
land on our site, and the reality is, some people would say that once a cheater, always a cheater, and I think that clearly what I've suggested proves that otherwise. And
right.
people come for reasons that are not purely, about a lack of morality. It's about difficult compromises. Because if I love my partner and everything in my household is amazing. I don't want to lose my house. I love my kids. I want to keep all that intact. But if my partner shuts down the bedroom and says, listen, I love you, but this is done, I have to respect that wish.
Yeah.
I can have conversations, but if she says that's it, we're done, well, then where does that leave me? And most people would say either compromise, well, that sounds really crappy, or
Yeah.
divorce, that sounds worse. And so we offer a third path for people who are stuck in, these difficult positions.
Yeah, no, I've heard of sexless marriage, like you mentioned before. So I definitely get it. Well, first of all, Paul, I want to thank you so much for being on People on Dating. My guy, I think you gave it at least a better point of what to look for in Ashley Madison that I might have thought of. And before I let you go, Paul, anything else you want to talk about? Anything else you want to promote? Upcoming book that you might have?
I don't have time to write a book. I'm traveling the world, helping people understand what's happening behind the scenes at Ashley Madison. But I just wanted to thank you all for taking time to chat with me and give me an opportunity to tell you what's really happening over here.
No, that sounds good. So, Paul, if somebody wanted to get in contact with you first, let's do you first, and then to get on Ashley Madison. So let's go. If somebody wanted to talk to you first.
So media@ashleymadison.com is my email. Send us a note. My team will pick it up, and we're happy to chat with you about what's happening behind the scenes at Ashley Madison. And then for everybody else, it's free to sign up at Ashley Madison. And then if you want to communicate, all the offers are on the page. You'll see that as soon as you sign up, and it's a great way to explore and see what's out there, potentially with your partner in an open relationship, or if you're in a situation where unfortunately you need to find something outside of your partner's domain. We're there for you with a lot of discretion.
No, it sounds good. Well, again, Paul, first of all, again, thank you so much for being on People on Dating. I really, really appreciate it.
My pleasure, Will. You have a great day.
You too. Bye bye.